Hey, welcome back to another edition of Limited Skills. I'm James.
And I am Brandon.
Brandon, this is your first time drafting this set, right?
This is my first. We're about 3 weeks in to
Yeah.
Amonkhet.
But you've played a bunch of it, right?
Yeah, I played 4 sealeds, and this was my first time drafting.
So this is not your first exposure to these cards by any stretch.
No, I actually paid more attention to these cards than I have in the last couple sets that we played around with.
In fact, last week, actually, you couldn't play with us because you were doing a sealed down in Virginia?
Yeah, Richmond, Virginia, the GP there. Did a bit of driving. It was a lot of time on the road. 20 hours round trip. That was fun.
Okay, so what are we looking at in this pack? There's a...
First pick Mountain.
Yep. Got it. Best card in Magic?
There were a bunch of good things here.
Like Greater Sandworm's insane.
Yeah, I love that. It's a really good comment. This guy's actually really good. Just I don't know. There's not a whole lot of 1-drops that I want to play, but this is good early game aggro and then late game value too.
I played against him at one sealed event, and while he was kind of annoying to have to murder every other turn, I didn't feel like he was really impacting the board that much.
Unlike a lot of other constant recurring creatures like that, that one can block, even though he comes in tapped.
Yeah.
So it's only every other turn. So at the least, he can prevent a bunch of late game damage.
Sure. That's fair. And there's a lot of blue in this pack. Life Gain Kitty. Doom to Center I really like.
Yeah, he does a lot of work for what's seemingly a vanilla little dude. He just has a lot of synergy in this set. I like that rare New Perspectives. Is pretty decent, but I didn't feel like it needed to push me into blue. I know as far as gameplay value of this cartouche is, I don't know, it can do a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I like all the cartouches. I'm crazy about cartouches. I'm cuckoo for cartouche puffs.
We were just talking about Unburden before we started recording this, and I really want him to draft it because I want someone to play Unburden in Seal or in Limited.
I'm just going to play a deck with 7 Unburdens next time.
Then
Then they're going to be heck bent, and I'm screwed.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have that stupid lizard, and you're gonna be dead.
Okay, so this was easy for me. Final Reward's one of my favorite removal in the set, and then since I already took that first pick, little 1-drop guy, I don't know. At this point, the green cartouche is maybe on the chopping block for things I care about, but I was really excited about those 2 black picks already.
Yeah, and 5 mana for Exile. We've seen that cost for that effect before, and that's usually good.
Yeah, it's at least okay, but in this set, I think the Exile effect is a little more useful than average.
Because of all the Embalm.
Oh god, all the Embalm.
And then that Sphinx.
I don't want to talk about that Sphinx.
So there's a Cartouche of Solidarity. That's First Strike and Make a Dude, right?
Yeah. Maybe my least favorite of the cartouches, but still fine.
I was kind of surprised at Vizier of Deferment. I mean, I guess we're only 4 picks in, but that's a really good 2/2.
Yeah, I did consider that. There were a couple good white picks in this pack, and I wasn't committed, but I was feeling good about black already. So without the risk of wasting a pick, I always love anything with Death Touch.
Sure.
And the truth is, that Scorpion's something that could have tabled. It's not something people scoop up as quickly as I do always. Did you like that?
I did. Like, I'll always take this bad Scorpion card, but it'll usually table.
I don't know if usually is right, but I don't think people get as excited about it as I do.
Oh, Hooded Brawler, Death Touch guy. Man, green commons and uncommons in this set seem crazy.
Yeah, so Destined to Lead was probably the thing I wanted most here, but because it's 2-color, I thought there was the best chance of it tabling. So I went with this little 3/2 guy. His Exert, just making him huge on the attack, is pretty good. Usually even just playing him, if you have to block with him right away, he's a good size for his cost.
I like the little haste bat. He can sometimes be... You don't always get the haste trigger, but...
Oh, I should have picked Little Haste Bat. Not even because of my deck, which it would have been fine in. I had some bad times with Little Haste Bat later in the night.
Oh, really?
If I would have stopped my opponent from having 2 Little Haste Bats.
Instead, you double up on Hooded Brawlers. Yeah, I think I closed out a game with Little Haste Bat. And even sometimes he doesn't have haste. He's just a little bat. And you just beat him with a little bat.
Like a baby bat, more terrified than normal. Something cool about those Nagas with exert and get +2/+2. If you swing in with them and you exert, a lot of times they're less incentivized to block because they'll just want to take it since it'll be tapped down for a turn anyway. After you attack in and make your guy huge, then is a really good time to play the green cartouche and have it fight something while it's big.
Yeah, very true. Or, even better, play that untap combat trick and get him.
There was some getting 'ems.
Or fling him. You could fling him.
I took Wander in Death. I think maybe the Spidery Grasp could have been a better pick. I guess getting card advantage is always sweet, but Spidery Grasp turns out is a really good combat trick in this set for a lot of reasons.
Well, it untaps, it gives him reach, and it gives him +2/+2,
yeah.
right?
+2/+4.
+2/+4.
Yeah, it gives them Giant Spider.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's really good with Exert, because if you exert them, then you have another way to untap them also.
Yep. I was a little weirded out by this pick. I don't know what to think about this card.
It can help you dig for specific creatures. If that's all you have, it's not worth it, because you only get one creature.
Right.
But because this deck has a lot of good common and uncommon enchantments, such as cartouches and trials, you can very frequently hit another really good card with it.
Okay.
At this point, I'd already taken the green cartouche. I thought there was a chance,
Sure.
Could cartouche some more.
There wasn't anything else really exciting there.
Yeah, we're getting down to the last few picks. So I'm usually happy with that in the last 5 picks.
Scarab Feast is fine sideboard tech.
Since it cycles for 1, you can main deck it, and that's great.
Yeah, that's
especially if you have cycling synergy. And I actually feel like, unless you're doing it on one of the first few turns, most matches you're going to find use to exile multiple things and get value out of it. I haven't actually seen it cast. I haven't played it myself. I haven't played against anybody that's played it. But
you take Cradle of the Accursed, because it goes in your deck, right? I was really surprised to see Floodwaters, because it's 6 mana, but I blew people out with that card.
Yeah, I was also surprised to see that. And if I were in blue, I would have taken it. Or if it were a single blue, I probably would have taken it with the chance of splashing in.
Sure.
But halfway through this first pack, I felt pretty comfortable in black-green. I've got almost 15 playables right here.
Yeah. And some fogs.
Let's talk about that Cradle of the Accursed later also.
Okay. I'm excited to hear this story.
I got things.
Ripping into pack 2.
Literally ripped it open.
Yep. Oh, Flash Kitty.
Yeah. I wiggled the cat because it's cool.
Cartouche of Ambition.
Okay, Black Cartouche is my favorite cartouche.
Mm.
It is actually kind of balmy for a common.
Yeah.
Sweltering Sun's amazing, but I hadn't taken a single red card, and it's double red. And I probably would have taken it if there wasn't such a balmy common.
Sure.
In here, I've seen cartouches reverse games both on my end and against me.
Yeah, they make your biggest guy weaker, or they kill a chump blocker, and then they have a lifelinker. So they're going to get value, and they're going to swing their life total back up a little bit. Yeah,
and as somebody that I don't advocate auras a whole lot, I would play an abundance of the Black Cartouche.
I like Festering Mummy. Without looking at anything else in the pack, I probably would just take Festering Mummy.
Just snap pick without looking at the other 13
Festering
cards.
Mummy. Well, then there's the Baleful Amulet, which is probably better.
Okay, so I pass that red board wipe, and then immediately get Insult to Injury, which made me feel weird about not having paid more attention to red stuff earlier, because then it was coming in heavy.
Yeah, but I feel like if you don't start out in red,
yeah,
jumping into red late is really bad.
Also, that Amet is really good anyway, so that wasn't a sad pick. I just felt weird passing good stuff to my right at this point.
Oh, there's another.
Oh, another bat I could have taken
away.
There's a
bat. There's a Horde of the Broken Land God demon thing. There's a hippo. This is a great pack for you.
I had a couple things with counters already, so the hippo struck my fancy.
Spidery Grasp, also good for you.
Yeah, I've got a few good options here. I don't remember what I landed on.
I remember what you landed on because I judged you for it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did.
And then when I saw
It was all right.
what else was in the pack, I was like, oh, Brandon, why?
Yeah.
So explain the Mana Dork.
Okay. I just wanted more 2-drops. I didn't have... At this point, I don't know if I had any 2-drop creatures.
Sure.
The ability to potentially... I know it being a 1/2 isn't as exciting, but having the option of playing a 2-drop and then something to play either my green or black Cartouche on turn 3, sometimes that could be what I need to happen.
Or it could ramp you into a 4-drop.
Yeah.
I haven't taken any 4-drops yet.
No. It could get me to final reward faster, which I now have 2 of.
That's
I'm
true.
very
That's
excited
good.
about. Yeah, I think ultimately at the end of this draft, I would have been happier with the Hippo than the Naga. But I don't think where I was at the time, it necessarily was the wrong pick.
Okay. There's another Unburden that you don't take.
I'm sorry.
I just want people to play discard and limited because I want to see. I think it'll be funny. There's another Flash Kitty.
Yeah, so I was between a creature or this combat trick. I hadn't played this yet. It seemed good, and I also had a few things with counters, so I thought I might get that second extra ability on it. But just having sort of a 1-mana counter spell for the removal in green, I feel like was going to be real unexpected for people and blow them out.
You can trick them out of their own combat trick too.
Yeah.
You've played this sword a bunch. This honed.
I have.
Kopesh.
It's fine. It's good. It's 2 mana to give your creature +1/+1 forever. Like, I wouldn't ever play more than 1, I think, but especially since I already had the black Cartouche and an Ammit, like boosting your thing with lifelink is huge.
Okay. If you're in an aggressive deck, do you think you take it?
Yeah. Not necessarily highly, but yeah, it's not a bad card to fill in.
Sure. Now what about this Cursed Minotaur? Do you take him? A 3/2 with
yeah,
Menace?
I love the Menace. I wanted to take, man, there were 2 other things there that I wanted to take.
This is a weird pack, too, because you take something that sort of made me scratch my head a little bit.
Did I not take the Minotaur?
No, you
Are
don't
we
take
gonna
any of
laugh at
those
me?
cards. Yeah, you take something weird. You don't even take the combat trick.
You know, I bet at this point I decided I already had enough 3-drop creatures.
You take the Cascading
And
Cataracts.
I didn't care. I just didn't care. I just wanted this not even phenomenal card. Just last second. I bet the Foil Plains is even more valuable and I could use in more decks. But you know what? I'm happy about it right now. F you, James. I forgot I even had that card till now. Guess what I got to look forward to when I go home?
You're not going to find it.
No, I have no idea where it is. No, that card's cool though.
It is cool, but it doesn't do anything in your
No,
two-color
that
deck.
Minotaur would have been sweet, or that combat trick. Anyway,
Yeah, I think red's probably open at this point. Now, I've heard
Red's
people
very
describe
open.
Hazaret's Favor as unplayable.
yeah, I'm not sure about it. I haven't seen it played, and it seems questionable.
Yeah.
Maybe in the right deck. I just kind of took it randomly. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rare, and the rest of the pack was full of jank.
Yeah.
But just in terms of what kind of deck it fits into, it seems really hard to play around. It is a May trigger, so you don't have to charge in and then sacrifice.
It's cool to have the
your-
option.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily agree with the analysis that it is unplayable, but I don't think I ever want it. Like, I might take it if I was deep in red and it was like the 3rd card passed.
It's one of those cards that, I don't know, because it's a rare, if I were in red, I would probably play it just because you don't get a whole lot of chances to play every rare. I mean,
Sure.
you could draft a set every Friday Night Magic for the entire time a set's out and not get a chance to play some cards.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, that's my mentality when I take a lot of weird rares in my colors, or sometimes not in my colors, is just because when else am I going to play this card?
Yep. Because you're never going to play it in Constructed. I like the art on Slitherblade. I think he's cool. That's my only thought.
I've been hearing things that Slitherblade is very popular on some high tier drafting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you can put a cartouche on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
River Serpent's
taking some chaff.
another interesting card.
He's fine. I like it.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of surprised to see all 3 of these.
Those are all 3 very good cards at the end. I took the Flame because I was pretty sure my the player to the right was in red. I guess just randomly disrupting somebody else's deck. Just a laugh.
Pass another Unburden. Yeah, you pass a card that you could have played in your colors for a blue card you couldn't.
It's like I'm just trying to spite you, really. I didn't even know you were excited about that card at the time. Yeah, that is weird. I don't know. Maybe I already realized I had a ton of playables.
Sure.
And I don't know. That Scribe is more annoying to play against, I think.
So you hate drafted.
Yes. I'm a hateful drafter.
I like Winged Shepherd a lot. That card's pretty great.
Yeah, I was surprised. It seemed underwhelming when I first saw it, but I'm usually happy playing it if I'm in white.
There's a Bitterblade Warrior.
Yeah, I was happy with that when I was complaining about 2-drops earlier.
Lay Claim is good.
Yeah, this pack is full of cool things.
Yeah.
Another Bitterblade Warrior.
This one's shiny. You go back and forth between taking the shiny Bitterblade and the not shiny Bitterblade. Blah, 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 blah.
That Vizier that gains indestructible when you cycle is pretty good. Also, the Zombie Lord, and I couldn't even think if I had zombies or not, but the chance of having just incidental zombies in this set, I almost went for that Lord.
I like the idea of like accidental zombies. Like you're out there doing your thing, and then all of a sudden, ah!
Yeah,
Suddenly zombie.
Right next to the Suddenly Salad at your grocery store. So yeah, I went with the Bitterblade Warrior because I realized I just wanted 2-drops.
Yeah, +1/+0 and Death Touch. Block that.
And that's a better target for either of my cartouches than that Naga would be.
Yep.
I was feeling pretty good about my deck at this point. I think if I had to build with the 28 cards I drafted already, I could put together an okay deck at this point. So whenever I'm feeling that going into pack 3, that's when I start getting cocky, maybe.
What do you think of Grim Strider?
I like Grim Strider a lot. It stuck out to me right away, but turns out another black cartouche, which, without exaggeration, can reverse a game better than a lot of rares.
Yeah, that lifelink is... I mean, I know we've talked about lifelink in the past and how it's sort of like... It's not great, but on that cartouche, it can be backbreaking.
Yeah, you get 3 effects out of it, and they all work really well together.
Yeah. Another Bitterblade. He's so bitter.
Is this blade made of bitterness? Or
yeah.
is it...
Or maybe it's just
I can't
coated in
believe it's
bitterness.
not bitter.
That's what his opponent says. I can't believe it's not bitter. Tastes like grape jelly.
Green cartouche there pops out.
Yeah, so green cartouche. So you have Fight or Baleful Ammit.
And
then
Pouncing
Flash
Cheetah is good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to pile up on that. Part of the reason I picked that was because I thought I took that Hippo earlier.
Oh.
I was thinking, ooh, something else with counters I can remove with the Hippo, but no, I took that Naga instead. But I like that Ammit a lot. I like lifelink on creatures.
Yeah.
And if you've got the ability to put that counter on some other thing you don't care about,
like the Naga.
which ended up being my Naga most of the night, then that guy is huge for his size. Huge for his size. Huge for his cost. Let's say things that make sense.
Why start now?
I don't know.
So I think at this point, while I'm not really watching you, I'm mostly talking to Oz. I look over and I see that big red creature and decide that you must be playing black-red, which is just completely not true.
That's weird. If I were in red, probably would have been the best pick in the pack. It's actually really good. Like, it's a very good common.
Sure.
If I'm in red, that's one of my favorite creatures. Taking the second Benefaction, I've got I think 2 black and 2 green cartouches at this point. Maybe just 1 green cartouche. But I've got targets where I'll consistently, I think, be able to hit 2 things with it. But playing 2 is probably still unreasonable. So that felt kind of like a random throwaway pick, but at this point, my deck seems alright.
Yeah, there's another Bitter Blade. That Aven Wing Guide, man, that card's ridiculous.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I think that was the regular Bitter Blade I passed at the start of this pack that tabled around.
So nobody's really playing that archetype.
Green? No.
There's an Electrify. Yeah, nobody's really playing red either.
Not enough. Nobody's playing any colors apparently.
Yeah, because
Everybody's
there's a bunch of blue
colorless.
They're all playing white. I don't know what they're doing.
So I didn't know about this Cultivator. I realized, I think by the time I thought my mana curve was pretty low, I didn't think I would need to spend 3 mana and try and dig for another land.
Yeah, it seems like a waste of a turn.
I almost want to take the Electrify just to get it out of there.
Right?
Oh, I did. Well, I'm happy about that.
I like this Flame Blade Adept, but he doesn't go in your deck. I just like these guys.
If I were red, I think I'd take that Lizard first. It's very good. But yeah, just another generic guy. 3 for a 2/3 is fine, and I've got a slight bit of counter synergy. This is where I got Spidery Grasp. Okay. So yeah, it's good for the exert stuff. Good combat trick, especially because I've got the lifelink, so getting some extra damage that way. It's a way to kill flyers.
Also, I feel like a lot of the time when I use a combat trick to block, I'm still trading. But Spidery Grasp means most of the time you're going to kill it, but you're not going to trade.
Yeah. Man, yeah, I just got a pile of combat tricks at the end there.
Yeah.
Because that Hapatra's Mark, I hadn't played it, but it seemed good, and I was happy to get a second one. Through the night, Cheetah so late too. Yeah, my last several picks were a lot higher quality than I think they should have been. So through the night, I had the 2 Hapatras Hexproof and the Spidery Grasp, and I kept rotating between whether I did 2 Hapatras Hexproof, already forgot the name, it was on the screen a minute ago, or one of those and the Spidery Grasp, just depending on what I was playing against. In general, I leaned towards the Hexproof just because it was 1 mana.
Yeah.
But there were times, with flyers and stuff, just that
Sure.
reach mattered a lot.
All right, cut to deck construction.
Yeah, so real quick tales. What I ended up with, I played 16 lands because I curved out at 3, except for those 2 final rewards. Nothing that cost more than 3. So I was kind of worried about that. But my creatures were real heavy in the 2 and 3 drop, and I even had a good 1-drop creature. So I could explode out. I had a lot of lifelink. I had 2 of the Ammits and 2 of the black cartouches. I forgot to look at my numbers, but without exaggeration, I may have gained up to 100 life through all my matches. It was crazy. I had at least 2 games where I ended at like 2 to 5 life, and my opponents were like, well, I'm going to wrap this up, and then I played a cartouche, killed the creature, swung in, and I'd end that game at 40 life.
Oh, God.
It was insane, the amount of life gain. More life than I've ever gained in Limited. So the deck was very good. I lost...
Oh, yeah, now we're looking for 4-drops.
Yeah, this is where I realized, whoops. So I did lose my second match, mostly due to flyers. My opponent had 2 of those bats, and he played the black cartouche on one of them. And I didn't get to Final Reward or Spidery Grasp. They just flew over my head with lifelink, so I couldn't outrace them.
If you had played Hapatra's Mark on it, would the enchantment have fallen off?
Hapatra's Mark gives hexproof.
Oh, right, yeah, and yep.
If it gave Shroud,
Yeah.
stepping back to the past, I would still have to do it in response to him casting it.
Okay.
I
was thinking protection. If you gave it protection, it would.
That would make it fall off. Yeah, protection from black.
I don't think I've seen protection from blank in a long time.
They do protection less commonly now than they used to. It's a little more complicated than a lot of mechanics that they spam. It just does so many things. It's easy for people to forget some of them. And it also causes non-interactivity.
Okay.
with
Yeah.
card, and especially in limited or a new set, it's like, oh man, I want to play my sweet white bomb that I got in my pack here, and then somebody plays a Stormbreath Dragon, and it's like, well, I'm not going to get to have fun with this new card.
Yeah.
And they don't like doing that as much. They haven't written out protection, and they'll keep it around, but it's always frustrating to somebody when there's like a cycle of protection from colors, and like in limited, oh, they got the one that hoses my deck.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, your deck, you curve out at 3, and then you just charge, turn sideways.
Yeah. And that worked really well. Like I said, I just kept the pressure on. I gained a lot of life, and I'd play a bunch of creatures and then remove whatever their big threats were with those final rewards. It was very consistent, very good. Other than the flyers flying over me, I also mulliganed to 5 and kept a 1-lander in our third game. It was not a real exciting way to end that match. It wasn't super interactive. I had to mulligan a little more than usual, I think, because I was running 16 lands.
Sure.
And what I forgot about, I realized about at the end of the night, actually, when I was deconstructing my deck afterwards, I had the, I forget what it's called, a cursed mummy-making land, that desert that makes a 2/2.
Yeah.
I should have run that as my 17th land, because
yeah.
not only would that have bridged that gap between like 16 and 17, but it also would have given me an extra creature, which I was also kind of sad about my creature count in deck construction. What happened was I just accidentally sat it in my pile of cards I wasn't going to play right at the start and just forgot I had it. So that was a bummer, because that would have been an ideal, exactly what I wanted to sort of balance out this deck.
Sure.
And if I had drawn that in that match, there was a good chance I could have won it still.
Well, I know we talked about this format as being bomb heavy. Everyone that I've talked to said, oh, it's a real bomb heavy format, and you just sort of like hang out until you get your bomb and then hope you win the game. And I feel like this deck kind of proves that's not entirely true.
Yeah, definitely not the case. I also learned, because I'd played 4 rounds of, or 4 events of Sealed. Sealed is much more, okay, that's true of Sealed everywhere, but especially with this set, I think the Sealed is very bomb heavy. There's a huge transformation going into Draft. There is more consistency, and this actually seems like a lot more aggressive of a format than I'd originally thought at my first glance and through playing Sealed. So yeah, a lot of 2-drop and 3-drop creatures pays off, it seems, in all colors.
Cool. Do you have any final thoughts, or should we close this out?
No, I think I already threw them all out there.
All right, great. Well, thanks for watching. Keep watching, and we'll find out if this is a fast format or if it's just bombs for days. And we will see you next week.
Woo!